What a burger!
You are listening to the Longhorn Podcast. To the Longhorn Podcast.
End zone ahead, folks. Touchdown, Longhorns.
With Danny. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. And Marcus. Does somebody know the number for Pluckers? Released once a week, every Tuesday. Much better than all those other Longhorn podcasts. You are listening to the Longhorn Podcast. To the Longhorn Podcast.
Marcus, there's so much going on in the world of college football today. So much going on at UT. I'm so excited. I want to dive right in. So Tom Herman has a new motto, a new hashtag to motivate the players at the university. It's hashtag 1-0. Here's what he has to say about it, and then I'm going to get your thoughts. I know everybody wants to talk about focusing on this week, one game at a time, 1 week at a time, but we break the phrase down a lot more intricately. For us, 1-0, we've broken it down to competing every second of every day in everything that you do. I challenge myself every day, Herman said. When I wake up, I tell myself, when I put my head down on that pillow tonight, was I a better husband, a better father, and a better head coach at the University of Texas? If the answer is yes, then I'm 1-0 that day. Marcus, what do you think about this new hashtag?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Sounds kind of corny, but like whatever gets Tom Herman going in the morning, let's do it. Do it, Tom. Let's be 1-0, man. Let's win the day. I mean, it sounds like, a variation on the process, basically. That's what it kind of sounds like.
Which we love. We love the process over here. You love the process, don't you, Marcus?
Yeah, I love the process, Danny.
And I think the process is something that can be applied to everything that you do. Manipulating your loved ones, killing them for sport, studying your enemies, setting up, getting some binoculars and getting in a tree and then watching your enemies' kids at night. That sort of stuff. That to me is the process. I'll tell you why I don't love this 1-0 hashtag. Number one, it doesn't, no pun intended, but it doesn't look, it doesn't look great because the Longhorns need to be 10-0, 12-0, 15-0, depending on the games we play that season. So I'm not sure if we're sending the right message to recruits. What do you think about that, Marcus?
So you're saying that he's just aiming too low. Like every day should be like a 12-0 day.
Yeah, every day, 100%. Every day, 12-0. That's how I gauge my day. I named 12 things at the beginning of that day, and then I count those things before I go to bed. And was I better did I beat all 12 things?
What if you end like 7-5? Like, was that a good day?
Definitely not. For us, for members of the Longhorn Podcast and members of Longhorn Nation, 12-0. Like, for example, breakfast, ate it all, 1-0. Brunch, ate it all, 2-0. Lunch, 3-0. I could go on.
Yeah. How do you eat 12 meals a day, or do you do other stuff too?
I have 12 meals a day.
Okay.
And sometimes, I think that when you're an athlete, you need the calories. That's what science says.
So what's your excuse?
Well, funny you say that, Marcus, but I jog sometimes. So I jog sometimes, but it's not all about me, but the thing is, apparently this hashtag is starting to work a bit. Because we just had our first major signing at the University of Texas at the Tom Herman era. Tonnell Carter. He's the number 7 running back in the class of 2017, the number 21 overall recruit from the state of Texas. And, he was recruited he was at Georgia. He was signed on, and he saw this hashtag, and he just said, "Fuck it, fuck Georgia, fuck everyone there. I'm committing to Texas." That's what he did, and now he's committed to us. That's the story you heard, right, Marcus?
Well, I heard something a little bit different. I
Really?
heard, what I heard was that he was committed to Georgia, pretty stoked to go. And then Georgia's two kind of star running backs decided to come back for their senior year and not commit. And so basically the Georgia coaching staff was like, we don't really have a place for you anymore. So he was sort of like, I mean, he just graduated. So he's sort of like, man, what now? And the answer is UT, which is great for us. I mean, that's awesome for University of Texas. But it's not like, it's definitely not the feel good, man. He just bleeds burnt orange and has been a lifetime fan. That doesn't seem to be the case. But big commit for Texas next year for sure.
Yeah. Well, he wrote a good note, and he said he's into it. And you know how on this podcast we like to kind of check out our new recruits' Twitter pages. Now, Tonell says greatness awaits. What do you think about that statement, Marcus?
I think we need to look at it in relation to whatever Eno Benjamin's Twitter says. I'm sorry.
What are Eno Benjamin's most recent tweets?
Let's see. EB5 trademark EB5. His last tweet was actually announcing his final six, being Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Michigan, Missouri, Utah, and Texas. So Texas did get a little love, in his last tweet, but it's kind of like an airbrushed. It's like him running, but it's airbrushed, and then there's like it's superimposed. There's a lot of photoshopping going on in this announcement.
Wow. Did you see? Look, he's got the Texas 3, and it has a Star Wars story beneath it. It's like he's in it. I guess these are studs from the Texas State Championship. I want to read some of Eno Benjamin's tweets. And by the way, do you think that Eno Benjamin will now be swayed away from Texas because of the recent commitment of Tonell Carter?
Yeah, maybe. And I think Eno Benjamin might be. I'm sorry, EB5. I think EB5 might be a better a better fit at like an Arizona State. Where they appreciate a good airbrushing session. They like a good Photoshop picture, and I think maybe just character perspective might be a better fit there.
Does he have the spirit of Sparky in him? Sparky the Sun Devil?
Yeah, he might have the spirit. He might.
He definitely loves the shocker. Wouldn't be surprised by that. Check out this tweet from EB5TM. Phone always on, do not disturb. Ellipses, always.
No new friends.
All right, he's got another tweet right after that. It's EB5, LOL, period. He's laughing out loud. He doesn't even give a shit. And then he's got right here, about to sleep in without worrying about getting up early. I'm saying that now, but will naturally wake up around 8:45 anyways. That's not that early.
That's not early.
That's
early in college. That's like, that wasn't even early in high school. That's early in college. He's not even in college yet. Come on, EB5. Man, get up. Do you have some sprints to do? Yeah. Some shuttle work?
Yeah, he's got sprints to do. Well, I don't want to make this whole podcast about Eno Benjamin, but I will. Let's keep going.
So to answer your question, Tonell Carter, do I mind his message? No, I don't. When we've got EB5 setting the standard for kind of just like, Texas recruiting Twitter accounts, I'll take to know.
You'll take to know. Okay. I'm all right with that. Now, we've also got a new kicker for the University of Texas. So far, Tom Herman has landed a running back that got pretty much kicked out of Georgia, and a JUCO kicker. So the recruiting is going well, and this guy is from Mississippi Gulf Coast. And he was 9 for 12 on field goal attempts this season at Mississippi Gulf Coast, with a season long from 44 yards. He was also 32 for 33 on extra points. I'm going to say better than Trent Domingue, that liar, traitor, and subject of my new segment, Do We Hate, this week. But here's the thing, Marcus, 9 for 12 on field goal attempts. I don't know if I trust him. Do you?
No, I mean, that's not going to get it done, man. 75%? I don't like those numbers.
Yeah, I need 12 for 12. And remember, it goes back to 12-0, which is a theme that goes across, eating 12 times. Did you complete the meal? That sort of thing. Because isn't it fashionable, Marcus, among all of these hot young football players that when they do a good play, that they act like they're eating a bowl of something?
Yeah, I believe you're. It's the feed me. Feed me.
That's what that means. I've been wondering what that means. I don't understand. I don't understand it. Why do you when I'm done celebrating something, I'm not eating, am I? I don't know.
Yeah, Danny, I think this kind of comes back to your general lack of firsthand experience in athletics, but it's this idea that winners want the ball. So it's like, feed me the rock,
right,
coach. Like put me in. Give me the rock.
Well, I don't eat rocks, Marcus, so I don't understand. Never asked coach for that. I'd say, give me that eclair, coach. Did they ever say that?
No, they don't.
All right, that's it. Let's get on to it's my second time doing this segment, and it's Do We Hate? And this week's subject of Do We Hate is Trent Domingue, shamed kicker for the University of Texas. For me, he's like a Benedict Arnold, and I'll tell you why. He played for LSU, leaves the program for some reason, I don't know, but I would say under suspect circumstances, because at first we thought it was because he was going to be a graduate transfer and that his girlfriend was going to UT and UT didn't have a kicker, and so he saw an opportunity for him to do some good. I see it another way. I see that Trent Domingue planned the entire thing. He is a saboteur. He came to Texas to not kick field goals and put our team in perilous situations. That's what I think about him. How many times did we put Trent Domingue up to that rock, as you call it, and it was a bit too heavy for him to get off the ground? And it was knocked down in return for touchdowns by teams like Oklahoma State. Wasn't there like 4 blocked kicks in that game?
Is a block kick the kicker's fault or the line's fault? I don't know the answer to that question, but it can't really all be on the kicker, right?
Yeah, the line doesn't. The line helps for sure, but in my opinion, the buck stops at Trent Domingue. And he missed a kick in the TCU game, and we just put in that other guy, put in some other dude, and he just kicked the shit out of the ball, killed it. It was a bit it was a bit rocky the first time, but yeah. So, do we hate Trent Domingue? Unequivocally, yes. So let's move on now. Marcus, what's keeping me up at night right now is what kind of offense are we going to run at the University of Texas? And I know that you've done some research and you've heard about possible candidates. What do you have to tell our audience?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple folks that have been sort of chatted about as interesting to bring in. Drew Maringer was sort of on that list, and he's been hired away from Rutgers and is officially on the Texas staff, but hasn't been named offensive coordinator and may not be. They probably would have done it already. So looking at some other guys out there, I think, a guy like Jeff Scott, who's at Clemson, he's the co-offensive coordinator there. And he's exciting. He's young. He's 35. He was a recruiting coordinator for 6 years for Clemson. So he's good there. And they had a great offense since he's been calling plays. So that would be an awesome hire. Same story at TCU. We've got Sonny Cumbie. He's the co-offensive coordinator there. I think we tried to get him before we hired Gilbert, and he declined.
He turned us down. Yeah,
right,
turned us down because he didn't think there was going to be much job security with Charlie Strong, so he was wary of going. Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah, I mean, saw something we didn't. He's also making $1.4 million as a co-offensive coordinator at TCU. Not like we couldn't match that. I'm sure we could, but it's an expensive coordinator. And then another guy that's just lost his job is Mark Helfrich at Oregon. Hasn't had a great couple years. Was the OC under Chip Kelly for 4 years. Obviously, they did really well. But, he had a really good career as an offensive coordinator with Oregon, didn't really make it as a head coach. So another interesting potential hire for Tom Herman and his staff.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I kind of want somebody that's a little more familiar with recruiting in Texas at the moment. But I did love that Oregon offense at the time. That was very fun to watch, wasn't it?
Sorry, what?
And it beat it. I said, but I did like that Oregon offense when he was running it, and he did beat us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he took them to the first college football playoff championship game. Like, you know, he's got a resume. So yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah. It's so funny how Charlie brought his whole staff from Louisville, and now Tom is basically taking his entire staff from Houston. I like it. I like that you're going for like something cohesive, but there's also part of me that's like, dude, you can hire anyone. Like, why not just hire the absolute best coordinators in the country? What do you think about that, Marcus?
I mean, I don't think they're like avoiding the best offensive coordinators in the country.
Yeah. I just mean so far defensive coordinator and a lot of the assistants have all been from Houston. I don't know. Are they ready to play with the big boys? That's the big question.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you don't want to like you're not trying to stunt cast your team, right? You're trying to this is a business, right? Like, these are their day jobs. So, you like want people you can get along with and like show up to the office and work with every day, who like, get it and like get what you're trying to do. I think that, that chemistry sort of thing, I think matters probably more than quote unquote being the number one offense. I don't even know how you would rank who the best offensive coordinator is. And your boy Johnny Sweetwater might even make an appearance on that list. So,
Marcus, number one, it's Joey Freshwater. Okay, it's Joey Freshwater. He does not go under Johnny Sweetwater, as you said. Which actually brings me up to my new segment, Joey Freshwater. Many of you know that Marcus and I both think about, talk about, dream about Lane Kiffin on a daily basis. This is a Longhorn podcast, but we always want to have that edge on our competitors and understand what they're doing. And because we will be playing against Alabama or LSU in a national championship soon, I find it necessary that we know what's going on with them. Now, Nick Saban's just preparing for a bowl, but there's been some other troubling developments. Marcus found an article and sent it to me, and the article is titled, it's from Barstool Sports, respected name in sports, sports journalism. And the title of the article is Hide Your Daughters, Joey Freshwater is Single and Ready to Mingle. Now, this is dated from February 29th, but I just heard about it. So We're going to talk about it. Lane Kiffin around then got divorced from his wife, his longtime, beautiful, beautiful wife. And he's run some very intense Tinder schemes to try and get his D wet down in Tuscaloosa. And apparently at a bar, he's been telling these potential lucky ladies that they're not talking to Lane Kiffin. They're talking to a man by the name of Joey Freshwater. Personally, Marcus, I think it's the freshest pickup line I've heard in a long time. What do you think about it?
Danny, if you were going to, instead of letting your wife go home with Lane Kiffin every night, if you were going to go try and pick up a girl, what would your sort of pseudonym be?
Danny Freshwater.
It's a little unoriginal, don't you think? And
I want to learn from, Marcus, I want to learn from the best.
It just seems a little lazy. It just seems a little lazy.
It was lazy on his part. What is Joey Freshwater? It sounds like an Adam Sandler movie. I don't get it.
Maybe it was sort of like a New Beginnings sort of name, Freshwater. Like we can all be Joey Freshwater, tomorrow.
Well, that's what I love about Lane Kiffin is that his story is so relatable. Many of us have been named after a sewage plant in Tennessee. Many of us have been fired on a tarmac in California. Many of us have supposedly slept with a booster's wife and Nick Saban's daughter. A lot of us have done that. So I think it's America's story, the Lane Kiffin story, really. Because we're all going to end up in Louisiana eventually. But that's what Joey Freshwater's been up to. And apparently he's got he has an assistant that works on Tinder. So like he's hired someone to like contact these chicks for him and be like, hey, have you ever heard of Lane Kiffin? And if they say yes, then he can get a meeting going. How often do you think this works?
On a percentage basis?
Yeah.
So like works as in they're like, yes, I've heard of Lane Kiffin. Yes, I'm down to meet up.
Yes.
I'm going to say, I imagine he's a notable guy. Like people do know who he is. He's got some money. He's a young guy. I'm going to guess he gets contact with, I'm going to say like works is in it all. Like they actually meet up. I'm going to say 20%. I'm going to say 1 in 5, which I think is pretty high. I'm giving him a lot of credit. But
yeah, for the amount of babes that Freshwater's fishing for, that's 20 chicks a day.
He's a busy guy.
So he's a busy guy. He's not just helping Alabama score touchdowns. He's helping sealing the deal with his cock. So, God, I love that guy. Now, Marcus, there's one thing that I actually wanted to bring up. I read a fun article. It was sent to me. It was by this guy named Andrew Adams. It was on Facebook. And he wrote a very interesting piece on the culture at UT and how, Charlie Strong was really good for the program because basically they when players are doing well at UT, the boosters pretty much let them do whatever they want and they don't develop into, men that can function. And his big example is, our boy Vince Young, who, all hail, he is our God. But this story is it's pretty captivating. And have you heard the story of Vince Young at South by Southwest?
I don't think so.
All right. So this is Andrew Adams' story of running into Vince, because he worked at the university. So he says, my best memory of Young, which I've joked about a few times, is South by Southwest a few years ago. I was dressed up, about to enter a party off 5th Street during the height of festivities when a big Escalade pulled up in front of the building and out stepped Vince himself in pajama pants and flip-flops. Already inebriated, he demanded to be let into the party by both security and the building owner, who politely declined. Frustrated, he stormed off before noticing me and a friend walking in through a separate entrance. He rushed over in his PJs and motioned for me and a friend to get him into the party in the cobbled, entitled, plain-spoken verbiage I already anticipated. I nodded, and through a side entrance, we walked into a back section of the party. Before I could even say a word to him, he pushed past me into the mix of things, demanding a waiter bring food to him. When one arrived with an appetizer tray, Vince took the whole platter from them, several beers from the bar, and walked over to a VIP couch some kids and wife of one of the musical acts was using behind a rope. He barked at them to get up with the expected "I'm Vince Young," laid down, sprawled out on the couch drinking beer, and sat the platter of appetizers on his belly, sliding them into his mouth in his horizontal fashion. He didn't care about the show or party. He never got up. It was just about being able to get in, get free food and free drinks because he was Vince Young. I literally watched, again, this large, lost 30-something man drink himself drunk and fall asleep on that couch in public, the platter of food still resting on his stomach. I mean, what a
That
champion.
can't be true.
Right?
That cannot be true.
This guy says it's true.
He put it on. I mean, like, is Vince Young Garfield? Like, just like eating, and then he took the pan of lasagna into his kitty box and ate the whole thing. That just seems. I don't know. It just seems suspect to me. I mean, like, I could definitely see VY roll into a club in pajamas. Like, that part actually doesn't. That part doesn't seem that crazy, but just this version of him is like Andre the Giant. Just like, then he cracked open all 6 beers in the 6-pack, drank them all at the same time, and like, you know, he demanded 6 $5 hot and ready Little Caesars pizzas and proceeded to make a bed out of the cardboard and sleep in the club.
Yeah, apparently that's what
happened.
he did.
Okay, I stand corrected, and the internet wins.
But Vince is a god. Vince is a god, and he won that championship, and he still lives in Austin. And gosh, I mean, it sounds to me like he's just living the dream.
Did you hear about
now,
this
right?
this woman that she just got arrested a couple days ago for like defrauding Ricky Williams of like $1.3 million?
Wait, please, do tell.
Yeah, so I guess Ricky Williams is the only named defendant, but apparently this woman like conned a couple other unnamed folks. Although somebody on the internet had like detective doubt who one of the other people were, but yeah, essentially she was just like, yeah, I'm this Harvard degreed financial advisor, and you don't have to pay me any commissions. I'll just manage your money because I don't like to see people get taken advantage of. Like, literally, that was her angle. And so she would take their money and just be like, yeah, I'm paying, like, this is what you owe in taxes, or like, I'm taking care of your taxes this year, you know, out of your account or whatever. And she was just spending it all on herself and travel, and she got caught. I don't think Ricky's getting that $1.3 million back, though.
Well, hey, you know, run, Ricky, run. Ricky is a fantastic athlete, very mediocre radio and television personality. He's not some financial super guru. I mean, come on, it could happen. It could happen to anyone. That's what I think.
I mean, it doesn't do him a lot of favors that he's just like a prolific stoner. I mean, not that I think that means that he, you know, can't make sound judgments about his finances, but I feel like this is going to there are going to be a lot of how stoned was Ricky Williams jokes about it.
And the
Pretty
answer
stoned.
is very.
He was really high at the time.
You know, did Ricky rip a bong and give away $1.3 million? Yeah, he did. But we all make mistakes. And remember that season, bro. Remember his senior season, because it was pretty tight.
I don't know. I'm doing some more research, and it looks like the woman It was actually Miss Chloe. Yeah, it was Miss Cleo. What was it? What was
Her name was Miss Cleo. Her name was Miss Cleo. Really?
Miss Cleo. Yeah. Yep. That was it.
Wow. She is so he got frauded by a soothsayer from Louisiana. She is like, yep, Harvard business grad and tarot card
Right. How high
extraordinaire.
was he? Really high. Yeah. Really.
Pretty. He was. Yeah. Well, that's actually a new segment that we have. How high was Ricky Williams? And the answer to that is he was fucked up. He was fucked up. Really quick before I get serious, I'm looking at. There's just some disturbing things that I see on the iTunes podcast page. So I see these other Longhorn podcasts, and I just want to call them out and let them know that we're here and we don't like you. First one, Longhorn Leap. I don't think your name's clever. And Longhorn Little Bo Peep. That's what I say about it. And I don't think you have good analysis. I don't like you. Next one's Longhorn Lowdown. More like Longhorn Big Frown. Your logo's shit, and I think you're an idiot. Next, let's get on to Longhorn Blitz, or as I like to call it, Longhorn Shits. How about you guys stop taking dumps all the time and get some real fucking analysis on your program? Next, Horns Cast. Sounds racist. That's all I have to say about that. And the last and my favorite, Longhorns for Christ podcast.
Oh,
No, these people are leading you away from the true path, which is the Longhorn podcast. Now, let's dive in. Marcus, there has been really some troubling stuff at Oklahoma. Now, a video surfaced of Joe Mixon, the star running back, receiver, all-around player, former five-star athlete, and a video surfaced of him assaulting a woman at a fast food restaurant. It's pretty gruesome. And the thing is, the only punishment he got, he had a year off. But here's the thing: it was his redshirt freshman season. Really a slap on the wrist. And Marcus, I think the person to blame here is Bob Stoops. What do you think?
I mean, blame for what? Like, what are we blaming on Bob Stoops here?
I think he should have kicked Mixon off the team.
So you're blaming Bob Stoops for not taking strong enough action. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like, I've seen the video. It's pretty awful. I mean, like a lot of people saw the Ray Rice video, and I think this is just as bad, if not worse. And Ray Rice basically got blackballed from life for doing that. My guess is, like, since this video's gone public, he's not going to be with the team. I mean, maybe they would have already kicked him off if they were going to, but it's
Well, I think he's I think he's going to enter the draft, and I've heard that there are people in the NFL saying that, like, because he served his penance already, or it was this, that he was provoked. Because he was provoked, then he can still cut it in the NFL. The NFL is so funny because they're, they have these campaigns where they're like, hey, we're totally, we're all about, like, being progressive and da-da-da-da. And then they do something like this, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I trust that organization.
Yeah. No, I mean, the NFL's shady as fuck. For sure. They're awful.
I don't trust him as far as I could throw Vince Young after that South by Southwest party.
Yeah.
Not far.
I hope that he does not get drafted. So she pushes him in the video, right? Which is probably what people are going to point to. Like, she pushed him.
Well, exactly. I mean, a 130 pound girl maybe like lightly pushes him after he clearly verbally assaults her friend. She says something about her friend. So she kind of gives him a little nudge. He gives her that, that thing that bros do when it's like, when they're trying to be intimidating, where they like flash their head at you. You know that move. And of course, it would make anybody jump because it's unexpected. But then for some reason, that's some sign of weakness. Anyway, he does that. The coolest part is she doesn't even move when he does that. And she hits him first, kind of gives him a little slap, sort of. Yeah. And then he just flat out knocks her. I mean, this is like one of the most crazy physical specimens in the United States. Fuck that guy, man. And the fact that they might give him millions of dollars and that Bob Stoops tried to get away with it. I don't know. Doesn't make me like Oklahoma anymore. I mean, doesn't make me like them anymore.
Eventually, every school in the Big 12 is going to be stained with some awful, sexual assault or domestic violence case, and
yeah, it's not a good time for the Big 12.
Not a great year for the Big 12.
The football is bad. Baylor done. Now this coming out of Oklahoma, and it makes me think. I've heard rumors that once the contracts are up and stuff, that Texas and Oklahoma might leave. That we might go to the Pac-12.
Yeah,
or the SEC. Hopefully, we go to the Pac-12, not the SEC. But it's weak football at the moment, Marcus. It really is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Better things, I hope, next season.
I agree. I think that's about all I have for this week. Marcus, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss?
No, I'm good. I mean, what another awesome. I just want to pat each of us on the back for a second for just how incisive the analysis was, and wanted to really say you took it up a notch in shit talking the competition today, Danny. Great job.
Marcus, if I viewed them as competition, I would agree with you.
That was a 1-0 comment. That was a 1-0 comment, Danny. Good job.
Exactly, 1-0. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other Longhorn branded podcasts, but none of them are called the Longhorn Podcast. And, members of these other podcasts, I'm not asking for you to quit your podcast. I'm asking for you to take your recording gear, throw it in the dumpster, and never, ever talk about the Longhorn football team again with your shitty, lowbrow analysis. Marcus is going to be off in London town doing what? I'm not sure. But you're going to be stuck with me, solo, Daniel David Carissimi, killing it in the Longhorn Podcast by himself. Will there be special guests? Probably not. Will it be me talking for 30 minutes about Lane Kiffin?
Highly likely.
Yes. Highly likely. So tune in. And Marcus, what are you most excited about seeing in London? Besides all the buttholes.
What am I most excited about? Probably just seeing my family. Seeing my cousin and little baby Alex. So it'll be good.
I love that. Love the sound of that. Well, I'm going to be freezing my ass off down in Texas doing work. Just doing the work. Focusing on my craft. Okay, Marcus. Well, another unbelievable episode. Great job. Awesome adventure. And let's, I'll see you after the break.
Sounds good, buddy. Talk to you soon, everybody.
Ciao.
You are listening to the Longhorn Podcast. To the Longhorn Podcast.
End zone ahead, folks. Touchdown, Longhorns.
With Danny. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. And Marcus. Does somebody know the number for Pluckers? Released once a week, every Tuesday. Much better than all those other Longhorn podcasts. You are listening to the Longhorn Podcast. To the Longhorn Podcast.